Hi, this is Priyanka, and we are back with another episode of IPP Star Conversation. And today we have with us Mr. Sudeep Bhattacharjee, Managing Director of manroland Goss India. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Priyanka. It's my pleasure.
So, sir, tell us how significant was Drupa 2024 for you?
Drupa 2024 was, I can't put it in one word that whether it's significant or not. Of course, it happened after a duration of 8 years. So the expectation was there. This was quite high for everybody, not from us. But if you look at the entire show, I would say some people are saying that the footfalls have been less. But on the other hand, if we just talk about our organization, that is manroland Goss, we had quite a number of footfalls and from across the world. And what was of great significance, or let's say pleasure to us, was we had a huge number of people from even Asia, like from Japan, Korea, and apart from India, of course. So we had this value man in the side. But then there were a lot of walk-ins. I never really expected there would be so many walk-ins for us. So overall, I can say it's been a good show for us.
So, sir, how did the visitors respond to the showcase products, particularly the AI-based maintenance platform, mantellisense, and how is this platform beneficial for the printing industry?
Okay, so we had this mantellisense set up at our stall. Apart from the way it was positioned, it was put up in a very attractive way for which a lot of people came in. And, the mantellisense has been there for some time in our organization. And generally, people were not able to utilize it properly. What we have done is, now we have tried to showcase in this Drupa with the mantellisense that how easy it is to do a condition-based monitoring on your equipment, to have a proper predictive maintenance, and how to go forward, increase efficiency, and reduce costs. For example, in the mantellisense, the entire word is coined by us. It comes from maintenance using intelligent sensors. So but at the same time, I would like to say that it's not just putting a lot of sensors across the machine. Of course, it involves putting sensors, but at the same time, what sort of reports are generated? There are so many reports that are generated from the mantellisense that people or the visitors from the legacy printing segment, be it the commercial or the newspaper, they were quite literally, they were overawed with the possibilities.
With manroland Goss focusing on automation, how important do you believe automation is for the printing industry?
Automation is extremely important, and I think it's been now at least 5-6 years since we are saying this. Even in the last print pack, we had this discussion on automation. You have to understand a few things. See, we say that we have a lot of population in our country, in India. We have a lot of people, but when you try to look for skilled manpower or people who are really interested to work in a factory setup, there is unfortunately not that many. Today's youngsters do not want to work in a newspaper factory or in a commercial plant doing night shifts, putting ink on their hands. So the entire psychology has changed. And at the same time, the old timers have also retired. They have moved on. So there is a gap. There's a skill gap in the industry. Apart from that, of course, we talk about efficiency. Like the last Chromoman which we sold in Calcutta, there was a specific request from the owners and from the management that the manpower count should not be high. So apart from the manpower part, we also look at how to reduce costs, today we have the newspaper industry especially has reached a position wherein they are doing what they can with human beings. Now, for the next level, you need automation.
Yes,
you need automation, otherwise you can, a human being only has a certain amount of capability. And I think most of the major newspapers are doing extremely well in that front. But then for the next step, for the leap, you need automation.
How crucial is sustainability in the printing industry, according to you?
Sustainability is very important. See, when I started my career, people were just not bothered at that time. If If you look at it, even the newspaper industry, whether it was the waste material, the chemical waste, the ink waste, people just used to throw that into the drain. You cannot do that nowadays. It's not possible. And since we are putting a lot of emphasis on the packaging front, it is even more so in the packaging industry. So if you look at our model, the entire model of why we have got offset into the packaging industry, why we are using food safe EB inks, why we are using so less of power, all these lead to sustainability. So it's what we understand is everywhere where we go, people talk about sustainability. They talk about the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. But when you say that what, there is a solution, but maybe the road is not so easy. Maybe you'll have to pay a little more, maybe you'll have to take more hardships, then somehow people are a bit reluctant to take that, because everybody wants to take an easy way out. So, but that has not been the case with us. What we try to do is we try to really put our technology into use so that it becomes sustainable. And offset, I think, if you compare with any other technology in the packaging field, it is the most sustainable, because we are using printing plates which are 100% recycled. We are using inks which need not be cleaned after every job. You can use you can just use a different unit. So these are some of the things which make it. We use much less energy compared to the other processes that are there.
So has the expansion of manroland Goss's web offset press offerings in packaging printing positively impacted the company's business growth?
Yes, absolutely. Our packaging equipment, which is a Varioman, was introduced in 2018, and now we are in the 6th year. So we have already sold 7 Variomans, mostly in Europe. So yes, of course, they have been extremely beneficial. And what we see across the world, and not just limited in India, packaging is having a trend now moving from plastics into paper. We've already seen that in chocolates and many other products which have already moved into paper, because it's biodegradable. So packaging will grow. Packaging, at least I cannot foresee a reason why it should not. It's not a question of only population. It's also a question of different sizes, different formats, new products which are introduced in the market, for which packaging is even growing in Europe, where the populations are not much. Going ahead, we see the packaging growing at a much faster rate than the legacy printing. So, of course, it's very, very important.
So, sir, any potential customers, like what are you targeting in the potential customers for the Varioman and Lithoman presses in India?
See, Varioman and Lithoman are different products. So, for the Varioman, of course, the big packaging customers, because our offering is a premium offering. It's not a small thing. So the investments are quite big. So the capex costs are high. So in that way, of course, there are big printers. I'm not naming them, but the big packaging printers are all our prospects. And many of them have visited Germany. They know about the product. So it's there. It's there. So you can say, even in India, we are targeting either their Indian counterparts or even Indian companies which are big now today. For the Lithoman, as I said, Lithoman with this new format of folder that we have, this is now totally for the book printing. And that is something where we have to work still quite a bit in India to convince Indian printers to convert into Lithoman. And I don't see any reason, because recently we have sold 3 Lithomans in China. So there is no reason why it should not work in India. So that is, I think it's only a matter of time. But all the book printers, whether they are commercial, converted into book, or typical book printers, anybody can have a Lithoman. And we were sitting with, it's very interesting, during Drupa we had a big meeting with one of the biggest Indian commercial and book printers. And when they did their own calculation, they saw that if they look at replacing, for example, their sheet feds and everything, according to their own calculations, they were replacing almost 8 to 10 of their equipments, because it's not just the wide format, it's also the high speed and the variable cutoff. So, it gives a lot of flexibility. That's why I say I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work in India. But yes, the capex costs or the initial costs are high.
So, since you have introduced a variable format pin folder for book printing, do you see a growth in the book printing industry even in the digital era?
Absolutely. See, in the digital era, whether it is variable format folder or not, you still have books, right? You still have physical books. People are still comfortable with books. But yes, coming to your specific question about our folder, see, this is a concept which is very interesting. You have to understand, we are actually talking about variable cutoffs in the same machine. So when we have this is like almost like a dream come true. I remember when I was much younger, in my days when I was working in the production, at that time, if somebody would have told us that, guess what, there is a machine which can do two different cutoffs, we would have laughed him off, because that's a impractical or impossible thing. But today, it is possible with this. You can actually have two units with two different cutoffs going into the same folder. And this is something which we have explained even to the Indian clientele, and people were extremely enthusiastic about it. So what you have is now, one machine which is taking care or replacing two different machines. So this is, of course, a very, very useful concept which can be utilized even in the Indian book printing sector.
What is your assessment of the current status of the commercial printing industry and the newspaper printing industry?
See, newspaper, I would say after the fall which it had during and post-COVID, it has come back. I think there is all newspapers, and here I'm talking about the national dailies, have realized that a certain portion has been lost to the digital world. So that particular portion is not going to come back. But at the same time, this has also made them much more leaner and more efficient, because even advertisers have realized that everything cannot be put on the digital platform, Print has its appeal. And I think you must have seen the various advertisements in print which comes in. You still have the new automobiles, new cars which are launched, which advertise heavily on print. Even the Amazons and Flipkarts and whoever, they have to advertise on print. And whenever they do, they have the highest number of people coming into their site. So print still has its appeal. So newspapers are there. Yes, as I said, a certain portion has been lost, but at the same time, they have become much more efficient. Whereas on the regional or the language dailies, as I call it, I see much more positivity there. Because the regional or the language dailies were running a much leaner, cost-effective operation in any case earlier. So now, I think whenever I visit, I find at least, what they claim is around 85 to 90% of the circulation has come back, which was pre-COVID. So that is also a very good sign. As far as commercial is concerned, see, magazines for a very long time, and COVID had nothing to do with this, magazines at a very long time have not been doing very well in India. I do not see so much of growth until and unless maybe it's some niche product. There are many niche areas wherein the magazine can, I think, concentrate. General awareness, or let's say political magazines, I don't think there is much scope there because of I would love to be proven wrong, but at the same time, with the digital and well as the newspapers, even the news media, whether it is print or digital, taking up that space, I don't think there is much scope there. Having said that, I would not say that magazine is dead or it's no longer there. See, you still have certain products, whether they are, let's say, the high branded or very, very luxury items, let's say the expensive products, the perfumes, those do not advertise on, on either digital or on newspapers. Okay. So, for example, you have a Gucci, they advertise mostly in these magazines. So they have an area. That's why I said, if it's, let's say, fashion, cigar, things like that, niche areas, maybe magazine still has an opportunity. But having said that, many of the commercial printers have made a switch to either packaging or book printing, which are still, giving them good revenue. So I would say commercial is, if you talk about book printing, yes, book printing has improved quite a lot. But the hardcore commercial thing has gone down. See, the point is today in our industry, you cannot think of having a new equipment every year or every other year, because the industry is not growing that way. Yes. But at the same time, it is very important that what else are you bringing onto the table? What exactly are you doing to make the operations more efficient, more cost efficient? And so in that way, When we spoke about this mental-essence, for example, this mental-essence is a huge thing. I mean, and it's not restricted to the newspaper. It's newspaper as well as commercial.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you can look at saving your utility costs, if you can look at saving your manpower costs, if you can look at saving your wastages, whether it be it in paper or newsprint in the case of newspapers. So it's a huge thing. And you also have to look at, you are doing a predictive mentor, you're predicting failures, you know. So this is a huge thing. So it's not just a question of equipment. People are not really today, you know, falling over each other to buy a new equipment, but people are looking at areas which can, you know, give them a longer life for their existing assets. How do you sweat your assets more? How do you have a longer life? Maybe how do I extend my life by 10 more years? So these are some of the areas which we are working on.
Thank you for talking to us, sir.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.